Revolutionary greetings. Um, Coming at you today, um, on this Thursday in October. Um, this is gonna be like the last video I make for a while, until I come across some other subjects that I want to talk about or events I want to talk about in detail or whatever. So, I just wanted to throw this out here real quick and touch on the subject, about the raping of black men in slavery and the origins of homosexuality, because there's a lot of our people out here who really don't know this info or have this info or seen this info before or even know of this type of stuff that was going on in slavery and before slavery. Many of our people don't even know the origins of homosexuality. So first I want to give thanks to the ancestors, the Orishas, the creators, to work through me to give y'all and guide me through this to give y'all this information. This video is for positivity, not negativity. I'm not here to bash homosexuality or homosexuals. I just want to just put this info out there because it's not really talked about like that. You don't really hear anybody writing books or even bringing this subject up. I guess because it's a touchy subject, many of our people don't really want to talk about it. But I notice a lot of our people talk about it only in the bashing area. They're not really, dropping no information or knowledge about it so people can understand it better. So this is not a bashing video on homosexuality or homosexuals, because I just want to give a shout out to Shakur also, man, because he's the only person that I've seen really, even talking about homosexuality, the intelligent way that he puts it across and explains homosexuality as far as the revolutionary nature and how revolutionaries should deal with homosexuality. So I want to applaud him for that, also for being a soldier he was, to even, put that knowledge out there as far as being a true revolutionary, because a revolutionary is against all oppression, no matter who it's against, whether it's sexuality, physically or mentally. We're against all oppression. New African revolutionaries or New African nationalists, we are anti-racist, anti-capitalist, anti-imperialist, anti-sexist. You know what I'm saying? So we're against oppression. So wherever that oppression will be, if you're calling yourself a revolutionary, you're supposed to be standing up for that oppression and against that oppression. So even though many of our New African nationals, they got their own opinions and, everybody has the right to their opinion on certain subjects, and that's even dealing with homosexuality. So many might not agree with homosexuality, but you got to come to a common ground to recognize and understand that common theory about homosexuality on a mature level. So that's what this video is about. It's about homosexuality and the rape of black men in slavery. But first, let me deal with the origins of homosexuality. For many of our people who don't know where homosexuality came from, homosexuality started in Europe. It started in Greece, it started in Rome, and it spread across the globe. Europeans, man, let me talk about this. I don't know, because it's not really much information out here on that, so I can't really tell you when or how it started. I can just tell you geographically where it came from. However these cats were being raised or whatever, in Europe, Greece, and Rome, a part of their history as evolving as humans, when they got to that stage, or whatever stage they got to, mentally something happened. Don't know what happened, but something mentally happened with these Europeans. I don't know if it came from them being crossbreeded with the Neanderthal or the rape from the Neanderthals, because these cats were raped by Neanderthals. The Grimaldis that left out of the homeland, and went to Europe, and they never was the same humans that they were when they left their homeland. So I don't even consider them African because they're not African. Because when they got to Europe, they became a people that they no longer were. Period. They were raped by these Neanderthals. So whether it was women or male, they were raped. They were being raped. So as they evolved over time in the human nature system and cycle, somewhere in their history, whether it started with molesting kids or whether it just started off with male on male action and then spread it to female on female action, it originated in Greece, then spread it to Rome. That's why you see on all these pictures in Europe, that's why you always see naked males touching other naked males. Or you may see some women, touching other women. Homosexuality was a culture in Europe. Males was doing males, women was doing women. They used to have festivals where they would indulge in these sexual behaviors. It even got to the point where they was even indulging in sexual festivals as far as dealing with their kids. This was the Saturnalia festival. It's a festival they used to have in Europe all the time, back in ancient times. And gradually, as this evolving of these Europeans and their civilizations was evolving, that nature started getting worse and worse and worse in their culture as far as sexually and homosexual acts. Then comes to the church, because this is where it really, really, really got bad. When Europeans started indulging and creating their own religious segments and churches, it spread it into the church. Homosexuality spread it in the church. This is where you get the preachers and the predatorial, pedophile type of behaviors came from. The Europeans, like I said, I don't know why or how they started doing this in the church, but it started from the male contact with males, and then the male contact with the kids, the young black boys. So throughout the history of Europe, homosexuality has always been there. Now, let me clear up this room about Africa, man. Let me tell you something. In ancient times in Africa, because you got a lot of, segments or organizations out here keep on quote unquote saying that they can prove that it was homosexuality in Africa and in Kemet, Egypt, or some parts of Africa before the Europeans or Arabs invaded Africa. I want to say that's 100% totally false, because facts can be proven on this. You don't have in Egypt no pictures of no males naked touching other males. You don't have no pictures in Egypt of no women touching no women in no sexual way or depicted in no sexual way. So let's get that straight. You can go to all parts of Africa, north, south, west, east Africa. We don't have no statues. We don't have no pictures, no hieroglyphics, no ancient scripts. I mean, we don't have no evidence of homosexuality in Africa, man. Go to Europe. You'll see 1,000 and million pictures depicted, because homosexuality was a culture in Europe. In Africa, they were against homosexuality. That's why today, if you go to Africa, you go to jail for homosexuality, because these people didn't believe in homosexuality. It was against the universal creator and the universal balance of the masculine and the feminine. That's just pure fact, man. Go over there. You can go visit Africa. You can see they got laws, man. They don't like homosexuality, man. And I can't disagree with them, because as I study history, everything lines up. You know what I'm saying? Like, homosexuality wasn't a part of our history, man. We didn't create that. Polygamy and all that, we created that. You know what I'm saying? A man have more wives than one wife. Yeah, we started that. But as far as Egypt and all this ridiculous talk about the hieroglyphics of homosexuality, show me. Show the black nation. Show the new African nation this evidence. All the people who say this. And they can't prove it. They can't show you one document, man. There was no homosexual or no homosexuality in Africa pre-European contact. Fact. Go research it. Go do your own research. The only time we started seeing homosexuality in Africa is in the period, I would say, of the Ptolemies, when they invaded Egypt and took over Egypt, these Europeans. Because like I said, they was already involved in the culture. They already had the culture of homosexuality. So it wasn't strange for them to bring that into Egypt and start doing these little things. But you still don't really see no pictures of homosexuality even during their period. But I'm pretty sure that there is some depictions of the Ptolemies and them in contact with homosexuality, because that's their culture. And then Alexander the Great, when he invaded Egypt, everybody know he was a homosexual. He was homosexual. You know what I mean? So all these people, when they invaded into Egypt, that's when homosexuality came into Africa. Before that, no homosexuality in Africa, man. Let me move right on along to slavery. Slave trade began. You know what I mean? They captured Africans being deported back and forth from Africa to Europe to the Americas, the Caribbeans. I don't have an accurate date, so I'm gonna just give my estimated date. I'm gonna say around 1700s of the slave trade and the maafa of African people in America. I'm gonna say around 1700s is when we first started seeing these attacks by Europeans on our women. This is when they started indulging in raping our women, and I mean, they were savages, man. They were beastly. You know what I mean? They know the black woman was the beautiful thing walking earth. I mean, there's no denial. You know what I'm saying? When they went to Africa, they seen how beautiful women were walking around, loving nature, walking around, you know what I'm saying, naked, you know what I mean? And their beauty and their bodies was undeniable, man. They wanted that. Who wouldn't? Black women are the most beautifulest women on earth, man. You know what I mean? So, I mean, our men were protectors at that time. So if you even tried to put your hands on a black woman during this period, before even bringing us across on the boats, or even during coming across the seas on the boats, our men would attack your ass, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up, they stood up and defended their women, man. Even if they had to die, even if they had to get thrown off the boat, even if they got to take a bullet, they would stand up for the black women. So, being the beastly way that Europeans are, around the 1700s, it was a Merlin man. I want to say it was a Merlin man. This Merlin European raped a free black woman, because at that time and period, there were some black people who were free. You know what I'm saying? If they had to pay their way to freedom, they was walking around and was acknowledged as free people. But even though it still was restrictions, I mean, to me it still was some slave shit, because all it was systematic slavery. Even if they were walking around and labeled free people, they still were treated, you know what I'm saying, unequally and dehumanized. So this free black woman was raped by this European. And after that, it just started springing up all over the place. Europeans was attacking black women, raping black women. And every time they would try to rape these black women, the black men would stand up. You know what I'm saying? So I guess being already in their DNA and naturally where these Europeans come from, somehow they started, I don't know if it was a tactic, because my belief, it could have been a tactic, or it could have been just their natural state of mind, that they started being attracted to men, black men. You know what I'm saying? Because, men, I ain't trying to talk in no gay or homosexual way, but you know how black men pack. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know if they love that or they use it as a tactic. I believe they use it as both. So, being that they needed some kind of way to make the black man stand down, I think they thought about it and was like, let's attack their masculine. So, these older cats, these older slave masters, started brutalizing and started raping black men, started raping young black boys. It's like old men had an obsession with young black boys. And they started raping black men left and right. And we started noticing that black men started standing down. And I guess it destroyed them mentally and destroyed them physically, because they were no longer, you know what I'm saying, how bad, even some of them, how bad they wanted to stop this man from raping a black woman. They stood down. And I call that a warfare tactic, man. Even though it could have been naturally their beastly way and their homosexual way, because this is where the culture came from in Europe. They started raping these black men, and the black men mentally was dehumanized and destroyed. Then came their feminine ways, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's like European supremacy is the origin of most of the problems in new African communities and African communities across the world, man. Because it's from mental attacks, physical attacks, strategic attacks, or plain old natural European bestiality and European supremacy and their ways, man. Because it started in Europe. You know what I'm saying? For all the people out there, go do your research. Homosexuality is not an African natural state of being or a natural act. It was an act that was forced upon them, then became a willingly submissive act by our own people to start indulging in the homosexuality culture. That's just a fact. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not here to bash homosexuals or nobody who indulge into it. Let me tell you something, man. When I drop these videos, I'm not here to bash people. I'm not here to tell people what to do. I'm only here to put the information out that I've learned over the years and distribute it to the masses of people, of my people, new African people, and all people who want to get something out of this. I'm not here to tell you what to do or change your beliefs. I'm here to drop this information and to make you think. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can do. You know what I mean? And so all the African, conscious people out there, the African scholars, just everybody who's, in tune with their higher consciousness, man, I think it's time to come together, and somebody needs to put a book out on this information, and we need to incorporate the talk of homosexuality origins and the rape of the black man and slavery into more important conversations, so we can get this information to our people so they have a better understanding of homosexuality, and before they indulge in these behaviors, they can actually think about it and do their research on it before they want to indulge in it, because it's not a black people thing, man. I'm just be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? We didn't create that, man. We didn't start homosexuality. And let me touch on the scientific and mental stage of homosexuality, because let me say this: homosexuality and homosexuals wasn't born gay, man. There's no proof. There's no scientific proof to it. The only thing I let slide, like I always be talking to some of the comrades on social sites or whatever, or when we have these conversations, the only time I let that slide is because unless this fetus, unless this baby was born with a mental defect, if something in her mind didn't grow properly, or his mind properly, his or her mind properly, then, I'm not saying it's a fact, I'm stating my opinion, then we could have, you know what I'm saying, we probably can consider that this child was born gay. And either way, it still goes back to a mental defect. It still goes back to mentalism. It's a mental disorder. You see what I'm saying? So either way, it goes back to your brain. Somehow in your brain, is mentally confused, mentally damaged. They even had this in a report. Yeah, when you get some time, look up the homosexuality and the gay thing about the medical overview of homosexuality and gay. They had this in law. It was even voted in the law that gay and homosexuality was a mental disease. But after a couple of years, they removed it from the medical records and then made homosexuality and being gay a natural state of being. So that tells you how the Europeans are playing games when they know the facts. You see what I'm saying? Because, like what I said, it's their culture. It originated in Europe. It originated in Greece. It originated in Rome. So that's why you have all these gay politicians, and they mainly be Europeans, you know what I'm saying? And people like Obama and all these type people co-signing homosexuality and gay. Because it's even evidence out there, I don't know if you've seen it, where the European cat came out and said Obama, he had a gay relationship with Obama. And they have pictures together, very close to each other, all that. You know what I mean? So it's like, do your research, man. Like, all this gay stuff is the culture of Europeans, but eventually over time, it spread and evolved into other ethnic groups. So there's no turning back from that at this point. So it's like, you know, it is what it is at this point. You know what I mean? So it's like, whether I agree with it or disagree with it or not, I just want y'all people out there to have an understanding of what happened to new African people and black people. Most of the things that happen to us come from oppression and dehumanized acts. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when dealing with homosexual and gayness, that was an act that was forced on new African people and African people. We were brutalized mentally and physically, man. That's just a fact. Go do that research. Go chalk it up. You know what I mean? And talk amongst your peers and discuss the topic, man. Before I sign off, I just want to give a shout out to y'all here, Shakur, aka Rated R. That phone call was amazing. Finally chopped up with Rated R Thug Life. That's my brother, One Nation Unison. I appreciate the love. I love you, brother. Hope try to get you free, man. Get you back into society, man. Cause you're a blessing to society and you're a blessing to me, man. And just want to say one love to you. Homosexuality. The rape of black men and the rape of black men in slavery and the origins of homosexuality. I'm gonna sign off right here. Haki, Kweli, Shakur. Question everything. Why not?